Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today we've got the pleasure of watching KikasDoDomu playing in the STRV 1030. Now, Kikas is from the European server and they are going to get the most frags that anyone has managed to achieve this year that has uploaded their replay onto the What Replays website. Exactly how many they're going to get, you're going to have to wait and see. But I'll tell you, it definitely beats my record, or at least matches it. So what is your record, Uncle Scrubby Baby? Well, the most kills I've ever managed to get in World of Tanks is 12, which I did in the E75. A classic video from a long, long time ago. If you want to see the highlight of it, you can actually see it in my 10 years of World of Tanks highlight video that Tanya made, I think it was last year, for my 10-year anniversary on Twitch. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, you can actually go onto my page and it will be the intro one for people who have not subscribed, which of course all of you have, right? Because I'm going to be releasing content every day for the rest of the year. But I should probably think about getting a better channel trailer. But then again, when you think about it, if somebody comes and watches my channel and they're not entertained by literally 10 years of arguably the greatest moments in World of Tanks, I'm very humble, right? Then why would they even want to stay, right? At least that's going to be the mental that I think you have to have. So, Kikas is immediately showing themselves as a high-end player. Not for that whiff in the HE shell. I don't think they meant to fire HE at the Borask, maybe they did. But because they are showing you some high-end tactics of using HE shells to knock down bushes that are actually over the edge of the map, as you can see. And so that allows Kikas to be able to have a bush where Wargaming didn't exactly intend for you to have a bush, or maybe whoever decided to put the trees over there and give them physics of being able to be knocked down, maybe they did. Clever use of game mechanics, and I honestly hope that Wargaming don't change that, because it's one of those things in World of Tanks where it's a high-end move, and I think that if people make high-end plays, then they deserve to be rewarded for it, as long as it's not game-breaking. And I'm not sure you would consider to have an extra bush here is kind of game-breaking, considering that the enemy team can do the same thing on the other side of the map. And I think having this extra line of fire, it's a dangerous position to use, because if you do get spotted, they'll absolutely nail you in the center of the map as well. So you have to watch out for that. So man, I always get excited for these max kill games, max frag games in World of Tanks, because it definitely gets the blood flowing. However, I would have never have thought it would be in an STRV 1030. Can you believe it? This is possibly one of the most innocent tanks inside the game. It's a right Diet Coke tank. Firstly, I personally now prefer like Diet Coke to regular Coke. I don't know, the sugar's too much for me. But from like the perspective, you should want the sugar, right? You'd only have like the Diet Coke if you had to have it, right? Where are you going with this analogy, Cuba? This has to be the worst analogy in history. What I'm trying to say is this is a real Diet Coke kind of tank. You don't want to actually play this one. You want to go and get the tier 10. You want to get the STRV 103B. The 103B has a heat shield on the front of the vehicle, so you can absorb some heat damage. It also has some plates of 50mm of armor on the front, whereas this thing's armor is limited to 40, apart from with the track links that you see just to the right of this vehicle. There's a track link that's hard to be able to show that actually counts as 50mm of armor, so don't shoot that with 122mm caliber guns, otherwise you're going to be very disappointed with it being able to ricochet off. But the 103B is just so much better in so many ways, and I would far rather play the tier 10 than play this vehicle. The 103B has the third best damage per minute in the game, only behind the Tortoise and the Badger. And with the 103B, I feel that it's also got the best base accuracy. This tank doesn't have the same accuracy as the 103B. It's actually got 0.3 accuracy, and I can already hear the keyboard warriors sounding off in the comments down below. Actually, Mr. QB, I just got 0.4. You're going to see this if you go into the game. No, it doesn't. It's got 0.4 when you're outside the siege mode, but when you enter the siege mode and you see that crosshair in the middle of the screen, then that means that your accuracy is actually 0.3 in this vehicle, but in the tier 10, you got 0.25, which is the most accurate tank in the game, bar none. However, with the 103B, I feel like that's the kind of tank that I actually want to take the 3% better rate of fire at the expense of 5% accuracy. And so, with the Gorilla, which I love, and I I actually take the accuracy instead of the rate of fire on the Gorilla. I'm willing to sacrifice a tank where the DPM isn't the focus, the alpha damage is the focus, to be able to embrace Gorilla accuracy. So because the Gorilla gets 0.27 base accuracy, but I make it 5% better, and my STRV 103B, which has 0.25, but I make it 5% worse, then they kind of cross over. So I feel like the Gorilla is the most accurate tank when you set it up correctly, or just in the way that I like to. Whereas the 103B, for me, is always down to aggression and raw DPM to try and lock my opponent's tracks down, a lot like a tortoise, get that reload down to 5 seconds, and get going. So, while I've been waffling on about why this tank is very surprising to me, it's not an autoloader, it's not got super high DPM, it's not got a super high alpha damage or something, you don't expect this thing to be the thing to hoover up kills like an auto reloader, for example. Kikas has been just slowly grinding down the opponents. Made a monster kill on the LT-432, a great kill on the VK that we didn't even see as they were being destroyed, and now Kikas is going to complete the light tank two-parter by shutting down the final eye of the enemy team. That is both eyes removed. And then how are they possibly going to function? Well, I guess when your team has also lost both light tanks, then it's just both people blind taking swings at each other, right? However, there's an ace up Kikas's sleeve, and that is that they have a Borask on their team. So, oh lol, Wargaming gave one team an extra light tank, although to be fair, there's a Borask on the enemy team. So I guess we could say 3 dead lights on the enemy team, 2 dead lights and 1 light remaining on Kikas's team, and that is a huge benefit on Prokhorovka. This is the best light tank map in the game. So Kikas is now going to use the reticle that you see on the minimap. He was feathering there to see if he could see over the ridgeline, and now he's trying to hit the shots blind, but they're unable to go over the ridge. One thing I don't like right now is that Kikas is shooting at very lightly armored tanks, but they have gold rounds loaded. Interestingly, they actually have intuition on this vehicle, and that's a radio operator skill on this tank, so they obviously have an exceptional crew on this vehicle, which is unusual because most people would have the exceptional crews on their tier 10 STRV 103B. I'm also really surprised at the equipment that Kikas is using here. They're not using coated optics, we can tell by the view range on the minimap. They're not using binoculars or a camo net because we would be able to see them when they deploy. And they're not using a turbo as well. And I personally think that by far the best equipment to use on an STRV 1030 and a 103B would be turbo, gun rammer, coated optics. But Kikas doesn't believe in spotting for themselves, and they don't believe in possibly what I think is the most important module on this tank, which is the turbo. The turbo is overpowered on a UDES, an STRV 1030, and the 103B. Why? Because with a turbo on a Swedish tank destroyer, you get a flat rate of fire increase. And so that means that the top speed limit of this tank, which is 10 inside the siege mode, actually goes up to 14 forwards with a regular turbo, or up to 16 forwards with a bond turbo. So you can improve your rate of fire, sorry, not your rate of fire, your top speed by 40 to 60% just from using one piece of equipment, which means that you never have to really bother leaving the siege mode when you're in kind of like ridgeline combat, when you're in the STRV 103B. And so if you haven't tried playing the tier 9 or the tier 10 with a turbo, I thoroughly recommend give it a go. I got 2 builds, one with a durability device, gun rammer, and turbo, and the other with coated optics instead of the durability device, depending on whether I need to scout or whether I need to just get in against my opponents. And Kikas with 1,500 hit points isn't using a durability either. So next tank vanquished, although that one wasn't really the most tricky one to hit. Now Kikas is up to a top gun in this battle. So what do you think that Kikas is using? I think he's got to be using something like gun rammer vents and an aiming device. That's all I can imagine. Maybe a rotation device? Don't see why you would use a rotation device on this vehicle. It's got no aim time and no bloom when you're moving anyway. But while I'm guessing, so Kikas, please, if you watch this video, which I truly hope you do, let me know in the comments. Drives me mad when I can't figure out what people are using and why they're using them. Kikas finishes off the IS-3, turns their attention to the Lorraine, and just like that, Kikas has secured not only the top gun, not only destroying 7 tanks, but also now the Radley Walters medal. But now Kikas has also run out of gold rounds. They're down to regular rounds. Oh no, how are they going to deal with the super heavily armored tanks like the BZ-176 and the E-75 later on in the game? Well, premonition, QuickyBabs. Oh, that was a spicy shot. Well, the first blind one was poor, but the second blind one was strong there against the Scorpion G. Kick-Ass avoiding shells from the 430 in the middle of the map. Their team are down by like 3,500 damage, and they're also down by a couple of kills. Just look how mad this game is. Kick-Ass is now going to secure the Pools medal for himself. They managed to get 10 kills. No one else on their team has got a kill. There's still 5 left on the enemy team. Well, obviously, with the process of deduction, Mr. QB, this might be a 15-kill game. Possibly, if the enemies don't manage to cap. There's 28 seconds left on the cap. The WTF Panzer IV is making heroic plays to spot the K91 PT in the cap circle, and to all intents and purposes they could still be on full hit points, although probably not after taking hits from the Cobra and the WTF Panzer IV. The 430 is providing view range. That was a good save on the sneeze. View range, but we don't have time to sneeze. 8 seconds left on the cap. Luckily, the Cobra looks like they penetrate a Hesh round there into the side. A second Hesh round goes in. The AMX M451 puts a shot in, and the K91 finishes off the WTF Panzer IV. And now Kick-Ass is up to 11 kills, while also defending the cap circle there against the Tier 9 Soviet tank destroyer. All right, so 11. Now a full health E75 appears, and this is where Kick-Ass wish he had a turbo so he could reverse behind these bushes. His play in the bushes would be so much more clean in this scenario with a turbo and would make up for the any kind of other sacrifice they would take on this tank. However, they don't have any more gold rounds, and so these shells, they're not even guaranteed to go in, although with good marksmanship like that, looks like Kick-Ass is still making the shots work. So here we go, here comes kill 12. No, Mila Jovovich, we are not kidding you. That gold rounds that were whiffed earlier would definitely have been useful now, as Kick-Ass is now alone in a 2 versus 4 scenario. The Cobra presses their reload key, communicates to the team, saying that there's 23 seconds. Look like this Cobra is really good with their communication, which is one of the best things to do. Look, you're sitting there, you're reloading for 30 seconds. What else do you have to do? Communicate with your team, ladies and gents. What you can do to improve your likelihood of getting through the team, through the secret of communication, right? All right, Kick-Ass in a 2 versus 4, 11 frags. But one thing that's exciting is they're going for TD15 Triumph for the Object 260. This is one of the hardest missions to do of any tank inside the game. They need 8,000 damage. They're up to 7,100. They need 6 kills. Oh, well, they got 11. They kind of nearly done it 2 times over, right? But they still need a little bit more damage, probably even including the blind shots that we saw earlier on in the game. But also, if Kick-Ass wants to do this with honors, they're going to have to win the battle by destroying all of the enemy tanks or capping the enemy's base. But it's not the enemy's base that we need to worry about right now. It's Kick-Ass managing to defend their base against what is most likely the E75 or possibly maybe the Kunzepanzer or the BZ-176. Now, interestingly, the Kunzepanzer and the BZ-176 were last spotted on full hit points, but remember, when they're outside the render distance, they don't automatically update their HP. And so, accordingly, the Kunzepanzer appears on half health, of which Kick-Ass reduces now to about a quarter health, and Andra, playing the Cobra on Kick-Ass's team, manages to finish off the 430, which means there's no chance for Kick-Ass to be able to get 15 kills in this game. But with the sirens going off, we don't have time to try and be greedy and go for a 15-kill game. We just got to try and think about getting as many kills as we can. Kick-Ass finishes off the Kunzepanzer, protects the cap circle again, now smashes 8,000 damage, meaning that they have to win to do TD15 with Triumph. Kick-Ass is saying 14 ? Frag? Yeah, well, mate, come on. You've got to earn them. You've got to earn them, Kick-Ass. You've got to go after them. And just because you haven't taken coated optics on this vehicle, so you've been relying on other people to spot for you, doesn't mean that you can't now invest that 1,200 hit points to go and claim glory for yourself. The BZ-176, to all intents and purposes, could still be on full hit points up on top of the hill. With only 4 rounds of ammunition remaining in this vehicle, I bet you Kick-Ass would probably be hoping that they didn't whiff all of those gold rounds earlier. The sirens go off. 1 minute left on the game, and oh no, Kick-Ass bounces one of their 4 remaining shells. They say, lol XD, and then to add even more spice to the game, the Cobra says that their ammunition is empty, so they fired all of their shots. So now the BZ-176 appears. Thankfully, they're a one-shot most of the time for Kick-Ass. There is a chance that 390 could roll lower than 296. So as long as Kick-Ass penetrates these 2 shells, he's guaranteed, but oh my lord, decides to fire a shell to greedily get the fade-ins. Ladies and gentlemen, are we going to see the worst karma in history here if this low rolls? 21 seconds left on the game. The BZ-176 shoots the Cobra. Kick-Ass enters the siege mode. Are we going to see drama? No, we are not. And look at this. Both tanks empty on ammunition at the end of the game. What an absolute ridiculous, insane end to this battle with great camaraderie between the great communication in the Cobra and Kick-Ass in their STRV 1030. Man, I would have almost loved to see Kick-Ass fail to be able to high roll that shot and then have to ram the BZ-176. Can you imagine how mad you have to be to risk getting the rarest medal in the game, the one that nobody gets, the Rezene Heroes medal for 14 kills, to greedily also want to get a Fadens at the same time? And a Fadens, don't get me wrong, it's a rare medal, but it's not even in the same league as a medal like the Rezene Heroes medal. And so Kick-Ass ends up with 14 kills. That's 2 more than Uncle QuickyBaby's ever managed to achieve in an absolute monster round of World of Tanks. So an ace tanker here, unsurprisingly, for 1,841 base experience. A high caliber there for the over 9,000 damage the Kick-Ass did. A Rezene Heroes medal, the one that nobody gets for those 14 kills. And a cheeky Fadens medal. That was a little bit sweaty. Kick-Ass lost a few credits here, even though they were resupplying consumables at half price during a sale earlier on this year. But who cares? I would pay 100 million credits or more to get the Rezene Heroes medal. It's the one that it's that Fable medal, and congratulations to you, Kick-Ass, for being able to get it. Now, full disclosure, there were other replays that people uploaded with 14 kills, but this one was at the highest tier, and in my opinion, it was the most exciting against non-AFK tanks. So Kick-Ass, I give you QuickyBaby's seal of approval, even though you got the joint most kills in World of Tanks. Nobody, at least so far, with 1 month left remaining on the year, has managed to get 15 kills and upload it to the What Replays website. But if you have this year and you've just been sitting on it like some, I don't know, greedy little pigeon that won't share your amazing replay with us, upload it onto the What Replays, put Uncle QuickyBaby in the title, and I promise I'll feature a 15 kill game. But for now, the honor has to be given to KikasDoDomu. So, Kick-Ass, congratulations to you on the most kills with the most epic replay in World of Tanks in the whole of 2023. That is quite a feat. And thank you so much for uploading your replay onto the What Replays website to gain the recognition that you deserve and allow the community to bask in your glory. I certainly did, and I hope all of you enjoyed this video today. If you did, give the video a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And if you're watching this video as it goes live on Friday, I'm going to be going live all day on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby to help you get the QuickyBaby Commander in World of Tanks. So, if you missed out on it, you haven't managed to get yourself one, or you just want to get more of Uncle QuickyBaby in all of your tanks with 0 skill brothers in arms, then come along right now. You get extra tokens, you'll get some missions to do in game, and you can get the Scrub Lord in World of Tanks. So really looking forward to seeing you all live right now on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.